Yate, and welcome to the South Salt Lake City Council meeting. It is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. It is 7 p.m. And I'd like to welcome all of our city council members here, as well as anyone joining the audience, as well as online. We are actually going to excuse Mayor Wood tonight. She is not feeling well, so we're going to excuse her. And so now I will just go ahead and move on. I'd like to actually thank our Sergeant of Arms. There's two in the back. Thank you for always protecting us. And I'll just move the time over to now Nick. Right?
Yeah. Please rise.
Is Ariel, do we have Councilmember Sanchez online? Okay, so with that, we will go ahead and move on. Thank you. So I will request for approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as listed on the agenda.
I'll second. I have a motion by Charlotte and a second by Corey. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, now we'll move on to no action comments, and we'll start off the first one with scheduling.
Yes, thank you. Coming up next Tuesday is the Board of Canvassers meeting to certify the election results. I need 4 council members here, so if I can at least get 4, so we have a quorum. So plan on that next Tuesday at 5 p.m. And then city offices will be closed on November 27th and 28th for Thanksgiving. Promise is hosting their Season of Sharing program to provide toys and gifts to the most vulnerable families in our community. The public can support by donating toys and volunteer. You can find out more on the city's website. And then we have a couple of events coming up. The Arts Council and Promise South Salt Lake invite you to the Season of Culture on November 20th at 5 p.m. at the historic Scott School. This is a free community event celebrating winter traditions from around the world. And then also Breakfast with Santa takes place on December 6th from 8 to 11 a.m. at the South Salt Lake Community Center. And then also you can book an appointment for a free car seat check by a certified child passenger safety technician for questions. And to book your car seat check, you can visit the co-op. And then our next council meeting will be on December 10th at 7 p.m. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Ariel, for all that information. And then next, we're going to move on to public comments. And if you have a comment, please come to the podium, state your name and where you reside. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hazel. I live in South Salt Lake and I've lived in Salt Lake County all my life. I have a short speech about democracy to give. Good evening, Mayor Wood, who is not here, and councilors. Since Election Day has recently passed, I would like to take a few minutes tonight to reflect on the recent election results. I have met with most of the candidates who were on my ballot, whether I talked to them here in City Hall after these meetings or one-on-one. Because of my talks with the candidates, I respected and liked most of the candidates on my ballot. While unfortunately all of the candidates I liked could not win, I would like to congratulate the winners of the recent elections. Since I am of course limited in my time, I will have to keep this brief. Mayor Wood has led this city for 16 years, and much of what has been accomplished is impressive, such as improvements in our schools, ending turnaround status and establishing after school programs. Additionally, many other great reforms, such as the establishment of the Civilian Review Board, the Promise Department, and the neighborhood grants have been implemented. I'm confident that South Salt Lake will continue to improve under her leadership. In the discussions I have had with Councilman DeWolf and the responses from him that I have read in newspapers, I believe that he shows a lot of wisdom and measurement in his approach to decisions, and he values differing perspectives, things that I value a lot and sincerely. I have also had short talks after city council meetings with Williams and Bynum, each of which have been very friendly and open, which I appreciate. I would also like to thank Eileen Hampton and Conrad Campos for running. I have had talks with them one-on-one, and in those talks, they were very open, honest, and sincere, which I deeply appreciate. I would like to thank all candidates who ran for participating in democracy, and my gratitude that I live in a nation which values free, safe, and democratic practices for choosing our leadership. Furthermore, I would like to express my confidence in those who won these elections as people who will help South Salt Lake be a diverse, successful, level-headed, and outstanding city, which I am proud to live in. I give this speech because in the past few years, I have been worried by increasing anti-democratic attitudes, many of them from among our own nation folk. This deeply worries me. This worries me as someone who deeply cares about the ideas of freedom, democracy, and other liberties. I do not believe these are something that should be idly acknowledged, but actively celebrated, as I celebrate them tonight. Congratulations on re-election, Thomas, Williams, Bynum, Wolf, and Wood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Hazel.
I came back. I was really nervous last time. I feel a lot better today. Hello, counselors. My name is Rebecca Baker, and I'm the assistant manager of the Granite branch of the county library. I'm here tonight to highlight some of the programs and initiatives Granite is hosting for our South Salt Lake community in November and December. Now through December 3rd, Granite is accepting new and gently used coats in all sizes, colors, and styles. All donated coats will go to people in need at South Valley Services, the Mid-Valley Family Shelter, and the Guadalupe Center. December 1st through the 22nd, Granite will be accepting wish list items for Salt Lake County Youth Services gifting tree. Necessary items like pajamas, toiletries, underwear, and warm clothing are desperately needed donations, as well as comfort items such as toys, art supplies, headphones, and snacks. All donations go directly to at-risk and abused youth in Salt Lake County. Items must be unused and unwrapped and can be dropped off at any county library location, but we hope that you come to Granite to drop them off. While you are visiting us, consider chatting with a librarian about making a library card, exploring our excellent online library through Libby, and learning about our database offerings. With the holidays approaching, you may need some inspiration for gifts. My favorite website for this is Creative Bug, a free online video workshop and technique database. It's a resource for high quality, on-trend arts and crafts. Patrons can access the full class library for artists and makers of all abilities and levels. Creative Bug is one of the many databases afforded to us through the Utah State Library's Utah Online Library. Finally, all county libraries will be closing at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, November 26th, and will reopen at 10 a.m. on Saturday, November 29th. All county libraries are closed for Thanksgiving Day, November 27th, and the day after Thanksgiving, November 28th. Access to online resources are available 24/7. And if it's okay with you guys, can I leave you some of these giving tree tags? Excellent. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you for that information. Love the updates from the library. Okay, seeing that we don't have anyone else coming up, well, I'm going to move on. The mayor is not here, so I'll move on to city attorney comments.
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Then we'll move on to city council comments, and I'm going to start off with Nick.
Just congratulations to everyone that won. So I'm excited to work with you for another 2 years. And we'll see what happens when I run. So congratulations.
Just thank you, Hazel, for your comments. And then I see Eileen Hampton in the audience, so I have an opportunity to thank her for running a clean campaign and not going negative and just standing on issues. And so it's a really hard thing to run. It's hard and it's exhausting, and I just appreciate anyone who throws their hat in the ring. So thank you for the congratulations, and thank you, Eileen, for doing such a good job. Cory?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to all the candidates that gave all their time in running for office. It's a very time-consuming and difficult thing to do. And so I just want to thank everyone that put their hat in and ran, and all of those that won. I look forward to working with you guys for quite a bit longer.
Yes, I want to congratulate you all for winning and running, because like you said, it is a lot of work. And I think what speaks to that is when they went to fill a chair of someone leaving, we had like 17 applicants, but when it comes time to run, it's a much harder thing, right? So we see fewer people out here. So it takes a lot of courage, a lot of energy, vulnerability. So thank you, congratulations.
It's gonna sound like repeat. But yes, thank you for all the candidates who ran. Congratulations to those who were voted in, and thank you to all the voters as well for participating. Thanks, Hazel, for your comments. I think we knew that participation wouldn't be as high as we always hoped it would be, especially in a municipal election year where there's not a lot of big names on the ballot. Ironically, usually has the most impact on your day-to-day. So thank you for everyone who took the time to vote.
Okay, so first and foremost is same thing as I'm gonna enjoy the next 4 years with the with my constituents up here, is how we worked well together, and I think we've accomplished something over the last 4 years, and we'd like to continue that. And for anyone who did run, it does take a lot of work to put your name out there, put your time off, and then even put aside your kids oftentimes to run for this. Your family is on the back burner. You do it basically for them and for the families that your neighbors with. Is you look at them and you think about your neighbors, and that's why we all run. And then secondly it is American Indian Heritage Month, and that makes me proud to sit up here as an American Indian woman, as a Dene woman is here sitting here. Is for me, is that means a lot to me. Is our culture in the Navajo tradition is women are our society is matrilineal, and to be sitting here today to conduct this meeting, but also to hold an elected position means a lot to me, because now I have my ancestors behind me, but that's something I think I'm very proud of. So just something about the American Indian Heritage Month this month, and keeping that in mind. Thank you. So now we will go ahead and move on to information. So we are gonna move 6A to the next month. And so we'll go ahead and go on to part B, 6B, with fraud risk analysis with Crystal.
Good evening, Council. Each year, the Finance Department of the city is required to assess the risk of financial fraud occurring within our city. We do this under the direction of the Utah Office of the State Auditor, using assessment criteria that they have developed. You should have a copy of our completed fraud risk assessment in your files, and it's also available attached to the agenda online. The greatest portion of the assessment looks at whether adequate separation of duties exists within each function involving cash handling, purchasing, and payroll. An example of separation of duties includes ensuring that those who have access to check stock are not the same people with signing authority, that bank statements are delivered and reviewed by someone outside of the payment process, and the payroll payment authorizations are performed by someone outside of the payroll processing process. I'm happy to report that we currently have adequate separation of duties and mitigating factors over each of these functions of cash handling, purchasing, and payroll. In addition to separation of duties, fraud risk is mitigated by the presence of adopted written policies, such as policies related to IT and computer security, reporting fraud and abuse, travel, conflicts of interest, and various other areas. Another area that mitigates fraud risk is the presence of a licensed or certified expert as part of the management team. The Finance Department currently employs 2 CPAs who have master's degrees in accounting and are required to complete 80 hours of continuing professional education every 2 years. We also have several other employees with higher education degrees and advanced certifications in their areas of expertise. Finally, we also have a fraud hotline in place where anyone can report any concerns related to financial fraud. Our hotline is administered by the state. who takes the report and then processes those reports. The link to report any financial fraud concerns can be found on the Finance Department's page of our city website. Residents and interested parties are also able to inspect the city financial statements, both online and in person at the Finance Department. Based on this assessment, I am happy to report that our fraud risk level is identified as low with a score of 335 out of 395. I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
We'll open this up for any discussion, comments.
I have a question.
Yes.
Crystal, one of the requirements on here, or one of the questions on the fraud risk assessment is number 4. Are employees and elected officials required to annually commit in writing to abide by a statement of ethical behavior? I saw that we didn't get that one. And I know ironically, if you're gonna be unethical, you're gonna start first by untruthfully signing that document that
Sure.
you're going to act ethical, which really doesn't do much, but it seems like an easy way to score 20 points. Just curious, maybe why we don't have that.
Currently, it's not something that is in place for the employees to do annually. We do sign documents attesting to ethical behavior as part of our employment process. And each time that our employee manual is updated, we have to sign the updates as well. For the 2 CPAs in our department, every 2 years, we do have to attest to our standards of ethics to renew our license. And as CPAs, we both take that very seriously.
Yeah.
But beyond why we don't currently have that policy in place, I just think it's something that we haven't explored at this point.
They commit to it, just not annually, but
Yeah,
anytime they have
yeah,
a change
we
when
all
they're
commit
first
to
hired.
it.
Yeah,
We just don't do it annually.
okay.
Anyone else? Okay, looks like it looks good. Hey, Crystal, we always appreciate all the information you provide us and keep us in line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me go back to my agenda. Okay, now we're going to move on to 6C Victim Services Federal Grant Update with Jody.
Evening, council. It's me again. Jody Fate, supervisor of our victim services team. I am here bi-yearly, as most of you know, to report on our federal grants, which are the VOCA and VAWA grants. Those grants supplement the personnel of our victim advocates, as well as 2 detectives who work on violence against women crimes. So we just started our new 2-year grant cycle application on July 1st of this year. So that cycle runs 2025 through 2027. Last year, which was, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, we served 2,212 victims of crime, which was actually up about 300 from the year previous to that. I looked at a couple of quick things just to note. 60% of those victims, the 2,212, were between the ages of 25 and 59, with 65% again of those total victims being female. We also, in July of this summer, went through a desk audit and a site review for both of our federal grants. We passed with flying colors. There were no findings. We met with our state monitor. It was myself, Chief Croyle, and Crystal, who also, did an in-person interview and went over all of the information that they gathered that ahead of time. So, well done, all of us. Brought on a new victim advocate in July, Naomi Hill. She has meshed wonderfully with the team. That same month, the 3 advocates attended the annual sexual assault conference, where they brought back some really good information that we are currently trying to integrate into our training that we do for new officers as they come on board. And that is in regards to sexual assault and just really encouraging that orientation towards victim support and believing and doing that throughout the process of the criminal justice process, I suppose. So really looking at some ways to implement and encourage that thinking. And hopefully we can push that out into our next orientation with our new officers. We also currently on our plates, we are working closely with University of Utah victim advocates as we coordinate on our cases that are coming in through HMHI. I always mix up the acronyms. How'd I do? Okay. So the Huntsman Mental Institute cases that are generated through there, we're working with those U of U advocates to kind of figure out how we can connect and serve those people. Those cases come through our PD now. And then we just submitted our 10 families for every year. Our Police Athletic League does Thanksgiving dinners, and each year we're able to contribute 10 families. Those families receive turkey, pie, $100 gift card for groceries, and then we all get together on that evening to disperse those, and the families come through. So it's a great event, and we were excited to do it again this year. One of many holiday projects to come, and that's all I have. If you have any questions for me.
Do you have any questions, comments for Jody? Thank you,
Okay.
Jody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we will move on to the action items, unfinished business. We'll go number one. We'll go with Jed and Carl. And a majority of these unfinished business items are ones we have already heard previously in previous meetings or even our work meetings.
Good evening, Council. That is correct, and this is one of those items that you have already seen. So I will be a little bit brief. I'm plugging in just in case we want to bounce and revisit anything specifically, but the meat of this you've already seen, and there were no comments, questions, needed changes. There also weren't any when we went to Planning Commission for their recommendation to you. So it is unchanged from that version that you saw previously. The only thing that it may have been talked about, it may not, is the way that we are combining it with Jed's agenda item tonight. Well, it's one agenda item. I was working on this independently of Jed at least. And then when we realized that there were two items that both required an amendment to the general plan coming through at roughly the same time, it made the most sense for everybody's time to combine them into one resolution. So my portion is organized into 3 amendments to the general plan. The first is just the original mobility plan, which, if you remember, we intended to adopt, we believe, in 2020, but it didn't, because of the way we phrased it, didn't get in there. So that's the first of the appendices. The second is the plan itself, some information that we gathered kind of summarized into typical plan language with recommendations, a new map showing where future projects will be, things like that. And then the third is a collection of all the data sources. So some new plans that WFRC did, UDOT's new plans, outreach from the public that we did over this summer. All that is kind of organized in that third appendix. So if there are questions, like I said, I'm happy to revisit any areas, but if not, I'll open it up to you.
Okay, I'll open up to council for questions or comments. Okay, seeing that we don't have anything, I'm going to go ahead and entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve a resolution of the South Salt Lake City Council amending the South Salt Lake General Plan 2040 to adopt the General Plan Water Resource Update and On the Move Mobility Plan Update.
I think until we've heard, maybe it's not my place to interrupt, but until we've heard Jed's, we don't want to do the water resource update yet, unless we're
Sorry
ready
about
to.
that. Yeah.
Sorry to
Okay, yeah, we
interrupt.
can do that.
Maybe,
It's-
maybe you want to.
No,
No,
let's
we'll do
hear
it.
it.
We'll do Carl first.
We want to hear it.
You, Carl, and thank you, council. Grateful to be in front of you again today as well. I'm Jed, urban planner from community development. Same with Carl. Will be brief today. Correct. So yeah, my presentation today will be on the general plan water resource element update. And then just as a refresher, just going over the timeline again. So like Carl said, this is concurrent with the mobility plan update. And then on October 29th, which is like two Wednesdays ago, I was in front of you with the same presentation. And then it was approved, but it was recommended for approval last week by Planning Commission, and today I'm in front of you again with this presentation. Once again, as a refresher, this proposed general plan amendment to include the water resource element is required by the state under SB 110. Just to go over the quick content, these are the 4 sections required in this update. And the first section is mainly on the existing supply and demand of our current water infrastructure, and then what we project to be in the future and what's the differences in between them. The second section is on our current goals for water conservation, and then some sources of waterways and inefficient water usage, and then what we are as a city doing to try to improve on our water conservation at the moment. And then section 3 is what future methods we can implement to help out with our water conservation efforts. And then lastly is what partnership or what partnership the city can have with the water agencies we already have partnership with right now, and how better we can coordinate within the city to best achieve our water conservation goals. Yeah, and so that's the update. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And also, the document is a little bit different than 2 weeks ago because state provided new comments, but they're just really minor details, like specific details. So nothing really much changed generally in the update.
Were there any, were there any changes from the planning commission with regards to anything?
No, Planning Commission did not suggest any changes.
And I think when we have these water plans and everything, it's necessary for a city going forward, it's projections and stuff. And so this is something that we oftentimes don't want to think about, these are not fees or anything we're trying to implement on residents, but it's necessary for a city like ours to sustain the water that we need. So thank you for providing that. Okay, now I'll go to the motion.
That motion, thank you. I make a motion that we approve a resolution of the South Salt Lake City Council amending the South Salt Lake General Plan 2040 to adopt the General Plan Water Resource Update and On the Move Mobility Plan Update.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Leanne and a second by Charla. We'll start with roll call. Ray.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, passes. Thank you for that information. Now we will move on to action item number 2, a resolution of the South Salt Lake City Council amending the name of Bugatti Avenue to New Bellhaven, and we're gonna have Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan Weidenhammer, Community and Economic Development Director. I'm pinch hitting for Eliza tonight. You saw this at your work session on October 29th. It's pretty straightforward request to rename existing Bugatti Avenue to Bellhaven Way. There's currently 4 parcels that are implicated by the Bugatti name. The goal at the end, and again, Bugatti sits west of 300 West. And it's where that new white building is going in on the corner of the tracks there. The intent, as this development gets its master planning done and back in front of everybody, is to relocate Bugatti to Bellhaven South. So it is directly across the street from Haven. So it's a straight through there. We talked about the Parley's Trail earlier. This is all part of that planning. So the project that's being delivered now will be occupied soon. And from a marketing standpoint, they wanted to identify with Bellhaven. So that's the request. Thanks.
Okay, do you have any questions, comments from the council?
No, just more curious, Jonathan, when we do the renaming, how, like, I know there's a couple of tenants in that area that probably have to update. Are there tenants in that area?
There are, I could give you, well, yeah, you see it down under the 1524 on the map on the upper right corner. Those, I think those two buildings north of Bearcat under the 15 and the 24 is still there and have tenants in them. We're not changing the Bearcat name, just the Bugatti name, so it shouldn't have any
Oh, it
implication
won't
on
have
them.
any impact.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we plat the thing, those are subsequent phases, not like
Yeah.
in the next couple of years, they're further away.
Okay. No questions then.
Okay, seeing that we don't have anything else, I'll open up for motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve a resolution of the South Salt Lake City Council amending the name of Bugatti Avenue to New Bellhaven Way.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ray and a second by Leanne. We'll start with roll call, starting with Ray.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Thank you, Jonathan. And now we're gonna move on to new business with Ariel.
Yes, thank you. In your Google Drive, there is the proposed 2026 City Council schedule for, believe it or not, just next year. That's just a couple months away. So this just follows the typical schedule that we've done in the past on the second and fourth Wednesdays, with the exception of April due to a conference that Sarah and I attend, and then the City Council as well. And then in June, just to make time to pass the budget. And then November and December, we changed that schedule to just one meeting those months. That seems to have worked well. So I think we can continue that. I think in November, I switched it to the 3rd November because of Veterans Day as well. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Do we have any questions, concerns, objections to Ariel's? Okay, so. do
You
we-
can
we-
move this to the next meeting. There's
Okay.
time to pass it at that one. So
Okay, we can, I guess I'll have a motion to move this to next meeting.
I'll make a motion that we move this item to our next regular council meeting under unfinished business.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Cheryl and a second by Corey. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we don't have a closed meeting? Okay, so before we close, I'd just like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your family, whether you do celebrate Thanksgiving as a way, it's families coming together, friends coming together. So I just wish everybody happy holidays. And for all of my council members, thank you. I think we're all grateful for everything we have there. Thank you. Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ray, a second by Leanne. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.